Hi everybody, welcome to Yoga Live. My name's Deanna. I'll be your yoga instructor for today's session. We'll be doing a nice slow flow yoga today, and it's gonna be maybe a little bit slower than usual, just so we can really open up our muscles and all our tight spots, especially on this rainy day here in Buffalo. So it's really important to always keep ourselves mobile throughout the day. Not only does it help us give us energy, but it helps burn calories, helps us lower our blood pressure, just keeps everything balanced. So if you're not already moving and grooving throughout the day, even just trying to take 10 minutes of your day or 10 minutes 3 days out of the week, start small, start somewhere, and this way you can increase your time as you go on and find things that resonates with you. Find some activities. If yoga is not your thing, although yoga can be practiced in any sport, any activity, because it's all about cessation of the mind, you can still find other outlets for physical activity. But you can always start with me. So everyone, please have a seat. If you have a mat, that's perfect. A yoga mat, fitness mat, anything that is a soft surface and has somewhat of a grip on the floor so you're not sliding around. Make sure you have some room around you. Walk the perimeter. Make sure you won't be able to kick anything. And start in a comfortable seat. Sitting up tall. Place your hands on top of your knees. You can place them, your palms facing up, for receiving positive energy, receiving good vibes, really just taking that all in and giving your soul what it needs if you're a little fragile right now. You can place your palms facing down for more grounding, being in tune with yourself, focusing on the present moment and being here, and focusing on nothing else. Because this is time for yourself. And start to gently close your eyes. Soften your facial muscles. We tend to hold a lot of tension in our neck, our face. And we also tend to hunch, so make sure you're sitting up tall, lengthening through the spine, through the crown of your head. Sitting down, using your glutes, really sealing the bottom of the mat. Relaxing the space in between your eyebrows, the tension in your mouth. From your neck to your shoulders, down to your toes. And tune in. Take this time to check in with your body and check in with your breath. Paying attention to the sound and the rhythm of your own natural breath, aiming not to change anything, but just noticing. Inhales and exhales through the nose. With each inhale, really filling up, noticing how your body moves with every breath. With each inhale, expanding the chest, expanding the rib cage, noticing your belly get big. Exhaling through the nose, softening down, hollowing out the belly, softening the chest. Take this time to start taking deeper inhales and then longer exhales, making sure that they're fluid, match one another. Nothing forced. And take this time to make a dedication or an intention for your practice today. Dedication or an intention. I like to think of a good positive quote. We tend to think too much. We tend to think maybe we're not good enough, or we're being judged left and right. And it's this time to really find acceptance. And that's something I'm going to use in my practice. Being me and accepting who I am and embracing it, no matter what. And we can use those dedications and intentions to return back to when our mind starts to wander and we tend to get that chatter in our head and we notice that, we're thinking about what we're making for dinner. So You can always redirect the sound, the rhythm of our breath. Taking inhales through the nose, filling up every space, all our muscles, sending air to all the tense places. And start to flutter your eyes open. Soften your gaze. Sitting up tall, shoulders away from your ears. Inhale, reach your arms up overhead. You can look at your fingertips for a seated, extended mountain pose, if you want to call it that. And then an exhale, plant your right hand down and reach your left arm up and over your head. Reach that left shoulder back towards the wall behind you. And you can look up at the ceiling. Feeling length in the left side body, but also the right side body. So make sure you're not dumping. You really want to stretch through those fingertips. Lengthen that torso. And also soften the shoulders down. Inhale, both arms up, back to center. This time plant the left arm down, the left hand on the mat, and reach the right arm up and over your head. You can place your forearm down to deepen the stretch. Or you can just stay lifted, extending that arm and reaching up through those fingertips, through the waist, and softening with that shoulder. Inhale, both arms back to center. We'll do one more on each side. Plant the right arm and reach the left arm up and over. Reach that left shoulder back to open up your heart space. Inhale, reach both arms up. Exhale, plant the left hand, reach the right arm up and over. Right shoulder back, opening up that heart space. Inhale, both arms back to center. And release your hands down. Place your hands just right on top of your knees. You can grab a hold of them just gently. And on an exhale, round the spine. Seal your glutes down and just round like cat. You can sit a little bit back more, but it's not necessary. And then on an inhale, reach your chest forward, hinge at the hips slightly. You'll feel a stretch in the outer hip. And your gaze can still stay forward, so you're not looking up and looking down, just so you're not getting dizzy. Because I know a lot of my clients tend to have, I forgot what it's called, you lose your balance. So keep going through your cat and your cow. Exhale, really feel the stretch in your backside body. And every inhale, leaning forward with a straight spine, opening that heart space, hinging at the hips. For cow. And now go ahead and rotate. So rolling back and rolling forward, keeping your chin parallel to the floor. Just go ahead and roll around in a circle. Try not to move your glutes up and away and around, keeping them glued to the mat as you move your spine into cat and just rotating to the right. Cow when you come forward, reaching towards the left and moving back. Go ahead and do 3 more times in this direction. And when you reach back, you can bring your chin to your chest to deepen that stretch. And once you get around 3 times, we'll reverse the direction. So wherever you didn't start here. Rotating through your hips, also your obliques, your waist. Squeezing those abs in, especially when you're in cat. Keeping that spine long. 3 more. Making your way around town. And then coming back to center. Inhale your arms up overhead. On an exhale, plant your hands out in front of you with a flat spine. Walk your hands away from
your torso or forward fold. Release your head and neck down. Soften the shoulders. You can have an active pose here by pressing your hands down onto the floor and work through the shoulders, or you can just soften and release, feeling the opening in your hip flexors. Going as far as you can. You never want to continue a pose if you're feeling any sort of pain, because yoga is ultimately trying to reduce your long-term chronic pain. So stay extended in your forward fold. And walk your hands back. Move over and come onto your tabletop position, stacking shoulders over wrists, hips over knees. Place your left hand in the middle of the mat, almost in line with your heart. And on an inhale, reach your right arm all the way up to the sky. Bring your chin to your right shoulder as you reach those fingertips up to the sky. Lengthen through the crown of your head forward, and on the exhale, twist a little bit deeper. Exhale, thread the needle. Send the right arm through the space all the way to the left with your palm facing up. Feeling the stretch by using your torso to open up the right shoulder blade. You can place your left hand by your face, out like downward facing dog arms, or you can wrap it around your backside body. And just really connecting every sensation you feel in your body with your breath. Sending air to all those tight places. And even if you're feeling a little bit tense and need a little bit more opening, send air there. Send your hips over to the right to also square your hips and deepen that stretch. Place your left hand to frame the face. Inhale your right arm all the way up to the ceiling to reset the spine. And release your right hand down to meet the left. Swap out your hands. Bring your right hand in line with your heart in the middle of your mat. And on an inhale, reach your left arm all the way up to the sky. Look at your fingertips. Keep your chin in line with your left shoulder as best you can. Lengthen through the crown of your head forward. On an exhale, twist a little bit deeper. Inhale. Exhale, thread the needle. Send your left arm through to the right with your palm facing up. Now you're going to send your hips over to the left, deepening the stretch on the left side of your shoulder. If you went for a bind, you can wrap your right arm across your body, placing your fingertips on the left inner crease of your hip. Sending your hips to the left, you really feel the opening. So making sure that your hips are always squared when they need to be. Place your right hand by your face. Inhale the left arm all the way up to the sky. And release your left arm down. On an inhale, shift your shoulders forward past your wrist creases. So you're going to shift your hips a little bit down. You can shimmy your knees a little bit back more so that you're in one line. So you're in tabletop. If you want to do modified chaturanga, which is what we're going to be doing here, you can shimmy your knees a little bit away. Shift your shoulders past the wrist creases and lower down all the way, hugging your elbows in tight towards your body, extending your legs out behind you. And on an inhale, lift your chest up for baby cobra. So little or no weight in your hands. You're really squeezing your legs together. You're squeezing your glutes here. You're not lifting your feet, that's bow. So we only want to lift the chest. And on an exhale, plant your forehead down on the mat. And this time, if you want, on an inhale, you could extend the arms to cobra, lifting the chest up by extending your arms, keeping your shoulders down away from the ears. You don't want to hike those shoulders up. You want to press into the mat. And feel your spine lengthen and your shoulders come all the way down. And exhale, bring your forehead down to the mat. If you want a deeper heart opener, you could come into upward facing dog, in which you place your hands more by your hips. And on an inhale, open your heart space and lift your hips off the mat. So It's a lot easier when you're in your sequences, but you place your hands right by your hips, you lift your hips up, you squeeze your legs, you squeeze your glutes, stay lifted, and release down. Place your forehead down on the mat. Place your hands right underneath the shoulders or right underneath the elbows. Hug those elbows in tight. Tuck those feet, lift the kneecaps up by straightening those legs, and on an exhale, press into your mat with those fingers spread wide. Plank pose, stay here. Shoulders stack over wrists, you're in one straight line. Squeeze that belly up and in. Puff up the space in between your shoulder blades as if you're coming into cat spine. On an exhale, lift your hips up and back, downward facing dog. This is our first downward facing dog of class, so go ahead and pedal out the heels, work through the arches. And always make this your own. Just because I'm leading you through your yoga class doesn't mean you can make it your own. You can bring in whatever feels good for you. That's what yoga's about. No judgments and being you and exploring what your body can do. Making sure your triceps are wrapped down. You breathe space between your neck and your shoulder blades, so broaden up that back. Make sure your feet are hip width distance apart or even a little bit wider. We want to seal those heels down. If your hamstrings are tight, bend your knees deeply and let your belly just fall onto your thighs. By pressing away from your hands, your belly will come towards your thighs. Release your head and neck down. And then go ahead and walk your hands all the way back towards your feet. We'll come into ragdoll. Separate your feet hip width distance apart or wider and let yourself fall. Your head and neck just hang heavy. Bend your knees deeply. So when you're bending your knees deeply, try and bear more weight in your toes. When you bear more weight in your toes, you open up the hamstrings. And it's good to finally release your head and neck from being upright all day. So our neck or shoulders, they hold us up. So it's nice to just finally compress and release. So you're in your ragdoll. You can rock side to side. You can make it rhythmic and have your own little sequence to it. Or you can find stillness. It's good to work into the legs, straightening one and bending the other, making figure eights with your arms. Release your hands on the mat, heel toe your feet all the way together. Actually hip width distance apart your feet because we're going to be walking back into our plank. So go ahead and walk yourself back, forward. Bring your hips down, make sure your shoulders stack over the wrists and your heels stack over the toes. Press into your fingertips, puff up the space. On an inhale, shift your shoulders past the wrist creases. Then you can go ahead and bring your knees down for a modified chaturanga. And if you bring your knees down, lower down all the way. Inhale, baby cobra or full cobra if you were modified. Bringing your forehead down on an exhale. Tuck the toes, lift your hips up and back to your downward facing dog. Inhale, lift your heels, bend your knees. Exhale, step or hop to the front of your mat. Inhale, hands to shins, halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. Really let your head and neck hang heavy, releasing your hands by your feet for your forward fold. On an inhale, bring your hands to your shins, come to a halfway lift, extend your spine forward. Bring your eye gaze down in front of you, belly is hollow. And exhale, forward fold. Hinge the hips, slight bend in the knee, release your head and neck. Inhale, hands to shins, halfway lift. Weight in the toes, shoulders back and away from the ears on the back side of the body. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, root to rise, sweep the arms up overhead. Look at your fingertips, extended mountain pose. Squeeze the glutes, squeeze the legs together. Exhale, forward fold, flat spine all the way down. Leading with the chest, release your hands. Inhale, hands to shins, come up halfway for your halfway lift. Exhale, plant your hands down, step into plank pose. Inhale, shift your shoulders past the wrist creases, come on the tips of your toes. I'm going to show you the advanced version. Exhale, lower down halfway, bending the elbows, coming down only halfway. Untuck the toes, lift the chest up as you lift your hips. For upward facing dog, tuck the toes, lift the hips up and back, downward facing dog. Whenever you need to release heat from the body, bring in some cleansing breaths. So wherever you are in your breath, release all that carbon dioxide. Exhale. Take a deep inhale through the nose, fill up your chest, fill up your belly, go as high as you can. One more sip at the top, and then part your mouth, exhale it out. Then we continue with our Ujjayi breaths, inhales and exhales through the nose with a slight constriction on the back of the throat, sounding like the sounds of the waves. Inhale, lift the right leg up, flex the toes towards the face. And on an exhale, plant your foot in between your hands, come into low lunge. Rock your hips back and forth, straightening the right leg, and then bringing the left hip forward. So we come from half split to low lunge. If you're in a half split, so you can do either or, whatever feels good in your body. So if you want to do half split, it's more the hamstring. So I'll explain this pose first. So you can shimmy your right heel a little bit further up with a length in your spine, just like halfway lift, and then you can hinge forward. As long as you feel that stretch in that right hamstring, reach that right hip point back, left hip point forward. So we're not hiking up that right hip, we're bringing that down. If you're in a low lunge, make sure your right knee doesn't go past the right toes. If it does, you got to shimmy your way back. And once you're rocked and rolled a few times and got out some tight spaces, stack your shoulders over your hips, reach your arms up overhead, belly up and in. Reach that right hip back, left hip point forward. On an exhale, reach your right arm to the back wall and extend your left arm out in front of you. Look past your right shoulder, right by your right thumb. Inhale, lengthen your crown to the front, to the ceiling, and on exhale, twist a little bit deeper. Inhale, the front palm lifts up and back. Place your right hand behind the left leg. Reach through those fingertips as you're reaching up and out of the waist. On an exhale, plant your left hand on the inside of the right foot and reach your right arm all the way up to the sky. Aim to bring that right knee towards that left shoulder to deepen that twist. And go ahead and tuck the back toes and try and lift your knee off the mat. Instead of a low lunge, try and make it a runner's lunge. Some people call it low lunge too. Plant your right hand, bring the right foot. Inhale the right leg up and back, tail of the dog. So it's a one-legged downward facing dog. Bend the right knee, open your hips to the right. Make sure you close that right armpit door so your shoulders are in one line and you maintain traditional downward facing dog upper body arms. Go ahead and make hip circles with the right hip. Going in one direction and then reversing the direction, making sure you get through both directions to smooth and even out both sides. You're gonna get some cracks and pops. And then release the right leg down. Inhale, lift the left leg up, flex the toes towards the face. On an exhale, plant your foot in between your hands, low lunge, lower the right knee, and rock back and forward. Make sure that left knee doesn't go past the left toes now. So work through your body, work through whatever you need to here. If you want to stay in half split, stay in half split for a few moments. If you want to do both, do a little bit of each. And when you're ready, we'll meet in your low lunge. You can stack your shoulders over your hips, or you can lean a little bit forward and stretch through that right hip flexor, as long as your left knee doesn't go past the toes. So whatever feels good for you, or you can just stay upright. Inhale your arms up overhead. On an exhale, twist open to the left. Look at your left thumb. Lengthen through the crown of your head all the way to the sky. Exhale, twist a little bit deeper. Flip the front palm, reach the right arm all the way up and back. Look at the fingertips. Feeling the stretch in the right side body now. Making sure you pull up and out of the waist. Lengthen the spine. And plant your right hand on the inside of the left foot. Reach the left arm high. Fingers spread wide. Really hug that left knee in towards the right shoulder. And if you're ready, tuck the right toes and lift the kneecap. Making sure your heel stacks over the toes. Send that left hip point back and make sure this hip point isn't up. You want to keep it as down as you can. Plant the left hand to frame the left foot and reach the left foot all the way up and back for your one-legged downward facing dog or tail of the dog. Pressing away from your hands, fingers spread wide. Bend your knee and open your hips to the left now. Make sure that you close that left armpit door so your shoulders are in one line. Go ahead and make some hip circles. It's a ball socket joint, so it's a wide range of motion, so feel free to make it as big or as small as you want. So you just heard that crack. I told you, this is the part where you're gonna crack a lot. We hold a lot of emotions in our hips. And then release your left leg to meet the right. Go ahead and shake it out if you need to. Inhale, reach the right leg up towards the sky. On an exhale, plant your foot in between your hands. Rise, crescent lunge. Keep the right knee over the right ankle. Stay high on your back toes, so keep your left heel over those toes. Right hip back, left hip point forward. Inhale your arms up overhead, your hips are in one line. So you can make your crescent lunge as deep as you want. You could stay high, or you could even make it a little bit more challenging and really work through those legs. So it's up to you. Energetically draw your legs together. You're scissoring your legs. You want to squeeze them and feel them. Whew, and it's toasty. And I thought this was gonna be a swift session, but sometimes you get lost in it and you never know what your body can do. You never know what your energy is going to wind up being like. Interlace your fingers on the backside body. This time you can place your heel down for more beginners so you're not losing balance. So we're in Warrior One now. See, that's the only difference. This is basically a lifted heel and angling the left toes at the top left corner of the mat. Inhale, look at the ceiling. Interlace your fingers on the backside body, but reach your hands away from your glutes. And on an exhale, humble warrior. Hinge over your right leg, bringing your right shoulder on the inside of your right knee, reaching your arms up and over your head, making sure that your palms touch together and reaches away from your head so that you're really feeling the stretch in your backside body. Inhale your arms up overhead and plant your hands and move through your flow, stepping in your plank and moving towards downward facing dog. So inhale, shift your shoulders past the wrist creases. If you want to bring the knees down, you can. Lowering down all the way for modification. Inhale, baby cobra or upward facing dog. Lifting your hips all the way up and back, downward facing dog. And remember, take these as much as you want. You don't need to even do the sequences. You can always skip up and meet us in downward facing dog. Inhale, lift the left leg up. Exhale, plant your foot in between your hands, rise, crescent lunge. This time, lunging on the left leg. Keep that left knee bent over the left ankle, straightening the right leg. Left hip point back, right hip point forward. Hips are in one line, belly up and in. Reach your arms up and overhead. This time, goal post your arms. So your triceps are parallel to the floor and you're looking up at the ceiling as you bring your right hip point a little bit forward. Avoid any crunching the back of the neck. If you want, you can seal that heel down. Interlace your fingers on the backside body. Look up at the sky and hinge forward, humble warrior on the other side. So you're going to place your left shoulder on the inside of your left knee, bringing your hands up and over your head. So pulling them up towards the sky and then over. Work through those feet energetically. Bring them together to keep you grounded. Inhale your arms up overhead. And plant your hands down and move through your flow, ending in downward facing dog. Moving through chaturanga, upward facing dog, cobra, baby cobra, and ending in your downward facing dog. Inhale, lift the right leg up, flex the toes towards the face. Exhale, plant your foot in between your hands. And we are going to step forward with the left foot. Inhale, hands to shins, halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, root to rise, sweep the arms up overhead. And release your arms down by your side. We're gonna do one standing balance today. And what we're going to do is tree pose. So go ahead, ground through those feet, all four corners. Lift those 10 toes up. See if you can find that midpoint, and then bring your toes all the way down. Squeeze those legs together, reach that tailbone down, belly up and in. Roll those shoulders back and away from the ears. Chin is parallel to the floor. Lengthen through the spine. Grab a hold of your right foot. Place it on the upper inner left thigh or the calf muscle. And find your center. So make sure your hips are in one line here, your belly's up and in, you find one point of focus. And this is your time to really breathe, meditate, concentrate. Squeeze your muscles. Keep that left leg grounded. Your hands could be here at heart center, or you can even roll your tree and wave the arms and your branches, just to challenge your balance. It's always good to challenge yourself. And then release your leg down. Shake it out. Wiggle it out. And then switch over to the right leg. So ground through the right foot. Take a hold of your left foot. If you want to place it on the calf, squeeze your calf into your foot and your foot into the calf. So you really find that compression to keep you still. Hands by your heart. If you want to keep them down, that's cool too. Or if you want to grow your tree, go ahead and grow. If you want to blow in the wind, you can do that too. Release your left foot, shake it out. Separate your feet out wide, bring your toes outside of your mat and your heels on your mat. For Malasana squat or yogi squat, sitting your hips all the way down, pressing your elbows into your legs and your legs into your elbows, opening your heart space. We tend to round and find comfort, but we really want to open our heart space here. It helps us open up our hips as well. And take this time to just close your eyes here. Lengthen your breaths. Slow it down. If you want to move side to side for some soothing rocking, or you can just find stillness. Sit your glutes down, release your legs out in front of you. Inhale your arms up overhead, lengthen through the crown of your head. Exhale, hinge forward with a flat spine. Grab on the backs of your feet or on the top of your shins. Make sure you lead with a straight spine and then you can fold. Then you can work through the backside body. More of a straight spine, you work through the hamstrings. So whatever your body's telling you today. Release your torso back to center. Stacking your shoulders over hips. Extend your arms out in front of you, fingers wide. Around the spine, and really be mindful as you stack your spine on top of one another on the mat below. Once you get all the way down and you're flat, inhale your arms up overhead for a full body stretch. Stretching through the tips of the fingers, tips of the toes. Exhale, hug your knees into your chest. Come into a tight little ball. Rock your hips side to side. Massage your spine. coming to our last pose of class today. Happy baby, extend. Spread your legs out wide, flex your feet, bend your knees, grab a hold of your outer edge of your foot or the inner, whatever you feel is best. You can even grab the shins if you can't reach, but we really want to press our hands into our feet and feet into our hands. Feel that compression to unravel our spine down onto the mat. So we don't lift our hips. We don't want to lift that lower back. We want to keep our tailbone all the way down. You work to straighten one leg, work to straighten the other, and then work to straighten both, whatever you want to do. But always return to your breath and your intentions. Release your legs down out in front of you for our last pose, corpse pose, Shavasana. Finding deep, full relaxation after a nice, swift session that worked our muscles, challenged our strength and flexibility, just to make us stronger in the end. Just take as much or as little space as you want, palms facing up for receiving, palms facing down for grounding. You can place one hand on your heart and one hand on your belly and feel the connection with every breath and how it moves your chest, moves your belly. Relax your face. Release the tension in your forehead, between your eyes, the corners of your eyes. Release the tension in the jaw by slightly parting the mouth and letting the tongue float in the hollow of the mouth. And take this next couple of minutes or so in silence before I lead you out to find full surrender with your mind, body, and spirit. Shavasana. Start to bring movement back into the body. Wiggle toes, wiggle fingers, rock your head side to side. Inhale your arms up for a full body stretch. And exhale, hug your knees into your chest, come into a tight little ball, grasping either elbows. And rocking over to one side, letting your curves hit the earth, giving you this nice tight hug. And when you're ready, come up to a comfortable seat, sitting up tall. Palms come together to touch at heart center. And bowing in, sitting up tall. Taking this short short moment to give love, light, and support, all the dedications and intentions that we made for our practice today. I want to thank you all, whoever joined our yoga session today. It was my honor and duty as a yoga instructor and a person to help keep you grounded and help you focus on what truly matters and help bring connection with your mind, body, and spirit. Namaste. Thanks again, everybody. It's my pleasure to guide you, and I hope to see you soon. Stay dry.